What's up, guys? Y'all apparently really like watching the side jobs that I bring into the shop, so I brought in another one. This car belongs to a guy I go to church with, and as you can tell right there on the quarter panel, that paint has started to come off of that top part. So he messaged me a few weeks ago and asked me if that was something I was able to fix. Told him that was easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So pretty much all that we have to do is feather this thing back where the paint is all chipping off, make sure that's sanded really well. And then we're gonna go ahead, shoot some primer over the top of that. Once that dries, we'll wet sand that entire panel. I've got some base coat mixed up. We're gonna shoot that over the whole thing because I don't know how well I'll be able to blend this. We'll take a look, but we'll see. Probably just gonna base coat the whole panel, and then we'll clear coat the whole thing so there's no buffing or anything like that needed, as long as no trash gets in it. But this is a very nice car. Not gonna lie to you, everybody seems to hate on the EcoBoost, me being one of them. But whenever I crunked this thing up and heard it, and heard the turbo, I couldn't hate anymore. So I hit the key. Just don't sound bad. But that's not even the part I'm talking about. Listen to this. That blow-off valve is nuts. And as far as I know, this thing's stock. So if that's what they sound like to the factory, I want one. But anyway, enough goofing off. We got to break out the DA sander, go ahead and get this stuff feathered back so we can hit that spot with some primer. The primer that I've got can be sanded in an hour. So we need to go ahead, get on the ball, get that done. That way we can move on. All right, guys, so we got the Mustang primed in that one spot that was giving us an issue, and I've now blocked it out. So pretty much this whole panel from here up and over, down, all of that quarter panel right there, it's gonna be wet sanded with 600 grit, and then we'll end up taking this cap off, taping all of that, and then I'm probably gonna take the back bumper and that little section down there, probably just gonna pull it all off. That way I can paint all of this, like along the edges and all of that stuff, and get it done right. So now, more wet sanding. Boy, I've done some wet sanding this week. Between doing that other Mustang and now doing this one, I have spent so much time on some sandpaper with a water hose in my hand. But anyway, we're gonna get this wet sanded, go ahead and get our base coat mixed up, get the car in there, all that good stuff. So we're getting ready to go ahead and get the blue resprayed on this car, and then that way we can go ahead and get the chauffeur done. I've got just a couple hours left, and this thing's gotta be finished. All right, guys, well, evidently I did not actually hit record whenever I wet sanded this quarter panel to get it ready for base coat and re-clearing. So it's wet sanded and it's in the paint booth now. And as you can see probably behind me, I did go ahead and start running some tape lines to kind of lay out my perimeter for my drop cloths and things like that. I did not make the deadline I was hoping to make. I went out of town. I've been out of town for a week. So this thing has been sitting in the paint booth for a week. So I'm in here right now getting everything kind of ready, and I'm gonna do like a final scuff. I've wet sanded what needs to be wet sanded, but I'm gonna scuff the rest of everything else that's left with a gray Scotch-Brite because it's not all gonna get base coat. I've decided I'm just gonna blend it and then I'll clear the whole thing. So that's not really gonna be that big of a deal. So anyway, that's what I'm doing right now. I've decided that the best thing for me to do is gonna be just to tape off the door jamb, the top of the doors, and then the top side of that side skirt. The side skirt's gonna be pretty involved to be able to get it off. And then as far as the back of the car, I'm gonna go ahead and pop out this tail light, and I'm gonna go ahead and pop loose the bumper on this side. And then that way I can just tape underneath and I can pull that stuff back out of the way, and then I can spray what I need to spray right there. I probably should go ahead and take off the entire bumper, but I think I'm just gonna pass on that for right now and see kind of how things are looking, and if I can get it out of the way just by taking this one side loose. I'm trying to take as few steps as possible to be able to get this done, because he is ready to get it back and they need it back fairly quickly. So trying to get this done pretty quick, and hopefully here in the next little bit I'll be spraying some base coat. It's pretty much ready, like I said, just aside from a little bit of scuffing with some Scotch-Brite and then throwing some drop cloths over this thing and getting this thing sprayed. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna grab my Scotch-Brite, get it in here. I'm gonna go ahead and pop all that stuff loose in the back, tape off my gas cap, because I was gonna take that off. That's good. That's gonna be a pain, so I'm not gonna do that. So we're just gonna tape it off, and then we'll paint around it and all that good stuff. There's probably much better ways to do this, and some guys who do this for a living are probably like jumping up and down in the comments right now, because there's certain things that they would do that I'm not doing. But this is just a quick repair that they wanted done for a 17-year-old kid, so not really that big of a deal. I'm going to take care of it. It'll look good. It'll work out. So going to get to work. Hopefully here pretty quick. We're spraying some paint. All right, guys, well, the quarter panel is prepped, back bumper is popped loose, tail lights out, rocker panel is taped off. Do have a couple other little things to tape off before I throw the drop cloth on there and start trimming everything out. I am gonna go into town and get some soft edge tape, some of that foam tape to put in the door jamb as well as the trunk jamb, just because it'll make things a little bit easier and then it won't leave such a hard line. There is a little bit of a trick you can use with regular masking tape. You can tape it and then pull it back. But if I can get some of that stuff, it'll just be quicker, easier, and it'll be done right. I need to go into town anyway to do a couple of things before I get too wrapped up and too busy here. So I'll go get that and then come back and do that. But then we'll go ahead, we'll run our tape line along the bottom of the quarter glass here, and then get everything kind of taken care of there, get our wheel covered up, and then start throwing down some drop cloth. And then we're gonna be ready for some base coat. I'm probably going to have to spray more base coat than I originally thought I would. I was only going to spray over the part that we had to prime, but I noticed a couple of little places that are just kind of nicked and you know, a few little things that need to be addressed. So probably do a little bit of a dust coat over everything and then clear the entire quarter. But it's pretty much ready. So I'm going to go to town, get what I got to get. We'll get back here, get this thing taped off. It's going to be time to start spraying some color. All right, well, we got everything taped off. It ended up raining, so the humidity is a little bit higher today than I like, but I talked to somebody that knows a lot more than me, and they told me that I should try putting some slow reducer into the clear coat, so hopefully everything should still go smoothly. I've never tried it, so this will be a learning experience, and we'll just really hope that nothing goes wrong. So gonna go ahead now, get the base coat mixed up. We're gonna base over all of this. I'm gonna hit that primer spot first and get that a little bit darkened down, and then I'm gonna just like dust the whole panel. That way everything blends and looks pretty good, and then we'll mix up clear coat. Like I said, I'm gonna reduce it with slow reducer, and that's supposed to help with any risk of blushing or anything like that. I'm not sure, I don't know 100%, but I guess we'll find out today. So everything's wiped down, ready to go. We'll get our base coat mixed up, get a coat of that on there, see how things are looking after that. Hope everything goes smooth. our base coat is laid down. Everything is looking really, really good. Right there where I did that blend spot, I did 3 or 4 coats right there just to make sure that was good and covered. And then I did 2 good coats over the whole quarter panel and then a drop coat. So everything is nice and even. I turned off all the lights, took a flashlight to run over it to make sure that everything was completely covered, that our metallics were even, and all of that good stuff. And as you can see right there behind me, it is looking pretty good. So I've let it sit for 20, 25 minutes, something like that, to make sure everything was completely flashed. And now we're ready for clear coat. So that's gonna be the final thing, and the part that I was mainly worried about because of the humidity. So we're gonna try it with our slow reducer to see how that goes and hope that it goes well. It is pretty hot, so it should be fine either way. But we're gonna do that, put a couple, 3 good coats on here, get everything completely polished up, and then we'll be ready to put this thing back together tomorrow after it dries, as long as everything turns out all right. So let's shoot some clear. All right, guys, so clear is laid down and everything is looking really, really good. I had a little bit of blushing that I thought was going on for just a second, but I waited for a minute, let it go ahead and flash off. After about 15 minutes, it was all completely gone. So I think everything is gonna be just fine with our clear coat. And I have to say, this stuff laid out absolutely slick. I thinned it 10% just like I always do, but on the first couple of coats and the last coat, I sprayed it at about 50 PSI. So higher pressure than I usually spray it at, and this stuff laid out absolutely slick. Of course, we sprayed it wet. So it's super, super wet, and we didn't have any runs or anything so far. So everything's looking really good. So now the only thing to do is let this thing sit tonight. We'll get back out here tomorrow, untape everything, and see how everything matches up. I think we're gonna be just fine. Everything looks pretty good from what I can tell. So we're gonna call it a day today. Get back out here tomorrow, get everything unmasked, get our bumper and tail light and stuff put back on, and then we've got a little bit of trash we got to buff out. But other than that, this thing will be ready to go home. So, see you guys tomorrow. All right, guys, well, the Mustang is painted, and that quarter panel looks absolutely amazing. The color match is 100% perfect. It was a good call doing everything just the way that we did, and everything looks great. The metallics are even. You can't ever tell that the paint was chipping in that one spot. So I think he's gonna be super, super happy with it. I didn't get to record actually putting the bumper and stuff on because most people don't realize that whenever you're doing this, it takes a while. But also when you're trying to record everything, it seems to take just that much longer. So I didn't get to record putting the tail light and stuff back in because he is on his way. So I wanted to make sure I had everything ready. But the tail light's back in and everything is just looking absolutely amazing. But I did notice one little thing. I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, but you see that little bubble right there. The passenger side quarter panel is starting to do the exact same thing, almost in the same exact spot that the driver's side did. So when he gets here, I'm gonna point that out to him, and then we may end up having to do some more work to this car later. He had mentioned, I think, if I remember correctly, he mentioned at one point maybe respraying the whole car eventually. So we might get to redo the whole car, which I think will be absolutely cool because I do really, really dig this color. This is probably one of my absolute favorite colors of blue that is out there. I used to really like the Dodge Viper blue, this Mustang blue. This is called Lightning Blue. It's code N6. It's absolutely nuts. It's bright, looks good, and it's definitely a head turner of a color. But guys, I know the last couple of weeks have been just a little bit different. We've been doing a lot of side jobs and a lot of work, but the good news is this is the last that I had on the schedule for a few weeks. So that means it's time for us to get back to work on our Come and Swap square body because we do have a show coming up on July 25th. So we have to have that thing 100% wrapped up and ready to go because it does have a reserve spot at the show. So it's got to be done within the next month and a half. I think we can do it. I just took a look at the camera and realized my face is absolutely covered in sand. I've been doing some sandblasting, so I'm pretty disgusting. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you check out that one right there, because YouTube thinks it's the best thing for you to watch next. And hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything on the channel. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one. Deuces.